With the interim report of the Royal Commission, as you know, we indicated that we would respond publicly by the end of August and in detail to the Commission as requested by September 30. So what we're releasing today in the form of a media release and a detailed recommendation to all of the 51 recommendations from the Commission is our response. I should say that our response has also been provided in confidence today to the Commission. We've indicated to them as a courtesy that we're providing that, and in addition, of course, that we'll be providing a full response, a detailed response, an implementation plan as they've requested on each of the recommendations. In terms of the bushfire season, as you know, is just 57 days away, and we need to make it an absolute priority for our state to be as fire safe and as fire ready as possible. I think, as I've indicated to you before, that since we've been in government, we've tripled resources for fire funding. If you look at the total resources that come from government and from the insurance industry, they're at about 250 million when we came to government. Today that number is more than 700 million. And if you look this year at just what we've provided in terms of funding plus reconstruction effort, there's a number which is more than $1 billion, which is being provided towards bushfires, reconstruction and fire readiness. I think what happened on February 7 obviously really changed the rule book. It threw out all of the rules, and what we need is a new, stronger and more aggressive approach going forward to tackling fire in our state. And essentially that's what we've picked up in all of the recommendations here today. So as you know, since February 7 we've worked with agencies, we've worked with local councils, we've worked with the federal government. We are busy rolling out a range of new measures, including the delivery of the National Telephone Emergency Warning System, the $11.5 million community campaign, the CFA online home defendability assessment tool. We're bringing on 700 additional DSE firefighters a month earlier, and of course Gavin and I were out in the Dandenongs announcing that. We are revising the prepare, stay and defend or leave early policy. We are setting up the single website with same time uploads to the CFA and DSE websites, and of course we've announced that Fire Action Week will be from October 11 to October 18. And of course immediately prior to the interim report, we also announced on top of our budget a further 50 million in measures and new initiatives. But the reality is, as you know, the state this year faces conditions which, on all of the best science we've got, will prove to be potentially more dangerous than the season we've just gone through. And so in that context, I'm announcing today that the government will support all of the Commission's 51 recommendations that they've made in the interim report. We will, of course, be guided by the emergency services agencies about what steps we can practically, properly and safely take ahead of the next bushfire season. The key recommendations, as I say, I think you've got an attachment there going through them all, but I'll just mention a couple. We will give priority to the implementation and establishment of neighbourhood safer places in the 52 towns that are and areas that are identified as most at risk in this year's fire season. To help do that, the CFA will assist councils in other areas to identify and to establish neighbourhood safer places where local resources permit. I should say that neighbourhood safer places will, in a sense, be places of last resort. They will be identified by authorities as a safer place in the event of a bushfire, but just to repeat, you can never guarantee that any place will be 100% safe. The government will be introducing and implementing legislation before the end of the year to make it compulsory for local government to identify safer places in their municipal fire prevention and emergency management plans. And in terms of protecting neighbourhood safer places in an emergency, the CFA will take the operational decision on how human life can be best protected. We're also going to implement a number of other key recommendations from the interim report. We will put in place a new fire risk index to provide clearer advice to the community in the face of similar conditions to Black Saturday. In relation to the standard emergency warning system, the SEWS, we will support limited use of that. We will develop a protocol with emergency broadcasters to ensure that the signal is only broadcast before warnings about life-threatening fires, and that on extreme days the frequency of its use is limited so as not to undermine its effectiveness. And you'll recall again, I think, the point we made in our response to council assisting on February 7. If SEWS had been used as has been proposed to be used, it would have been used 510 times alone that day just on the ABC. We will also invite, in response to the Commission's recommendations, we will also invite commercial media operators to enter into an MOU similar to that which exists with the ABC on their broadcast, but they will need to agree to that MOU. A couple of other things that we'll be doing. The state will also be introducing a common alerting protocol to ensure that bushfire warnings are founded on the principle of maximising the potential to save lives, and we will be developing guidelines to support CFA and DSE incident controllers to assess if relocation should occur and recommend relocation when warranted. Recommendations to relocate will only be issued where an incident controller determines and is fully satisfied that people can relocate safely. So finally, I should just reiterate, we are supporting all of the 51 recommendations. They are all about making our state as fire safe and as fire ready as possible as we move towards a fire season which is just 57 days away, and which on all of the evidence and all of the advice looks to be at least, if not more dangerous, potentially, than the fire season that we've just gone through. So this is the first tranche, if you like, of responses. We will, as requested by the Commission, be responding in detail with an implementation plan to each of their 51 recommendations, and of course in March next year we will be reporting back to them in detail on the progress that's been made over the fire season in implementing all of those recommendations.